maybe some interpret it differently, is that the evaluation was whether we would keep Dave Waffle or not. And it was not really to be two separate items, however it became one. So we let the testimony flow into one. I'm going to move on with it. One of the things from my perspective of what's going on here, and it's really interesting to listen to a lot of the testimony that came up tonight, I don't even disagree with it. What's interesting is how it's interpreted completely differently. You guys say it and everyone cheers, or I say it and everyone boos.
Right.
We expect the code of ethics to be followed by everyone on the council, the city manager. The difficult thing I think that has been in this particular case is my way of doing things, and I'll say specifically me, so I'm not speaking for anyone else, differs dramatically from the way Dave Waffle does things. It's been a headbutting session since we basically think the petition drive got the thing rolling in the wrong direction. When we won the election, Dave Waffle was apparently quoted to say that he went into physical shock. I was a wreck, he said. It's really words of someone who wants to work with the new council and the new mayor. Since we've been here, I feel like there's been constant headbutting. We can't get anything done. We can't get information. We can't figure out what's going on half the time. Used to be, I guess, city manager, the city recorder, and the mayor sat down and decided what was on the agenda. Now the agenda's decided Thursday night at 6 o'clock, and giving you a little bit of time to respond to it if you're lucky. In the early stages of us doing business together, I was on the phone with the League of Oregon Cities on a constant daily basis, sometimes 4 and 5 times. The comment I got back was, you know, I'm not going to take sides in this issue, but clearly you guys don't get along and you need to part ways. And I think that's kind of where I'm saying in this. I'm not going to sit here and beat up certain people that I don't think have done a very good job, point fingers at anyone specific, but it's been a nightmare as the mayor to deal with a lot of the internal issues that have not really been very public. And I don't think airing dirty laundry is good for the city, so I'm not intending to do that. But I am very frustrated with how tough it's been to accomplish anything in the city. And we could talk about little specifics, you know, like we've tried to do, and we could just turn into a big argument and we'll be here all night. I think it's clear you guys see things different than I do, and you guys are the ones that probably voted for those that we voted out.
No,
But
I voted for you. I voted for you.
did you? Thank you.
I surely did.
Appreciate it.
Big mistake.
So I appreciate that last comment. Anyways, honest, that's true, very much. But everyone's going to have their opinion. I think we need to move on. I don't think it's been healthy the way it's been since I've been mayor, and I'd like to see it change, and that change, we can only change the city manager, and so that's why I'm suggesting we do. And from that, I guess, I'll look for a motion. Yes, Dave.
Before you move to a vote, I'd like to address the council since the evaluation should be a dialogue between the city manager and the council, so at some appropriate time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. So you want to address this now?
That'd be fine.
All right.
Do we have a minute to read through the statement, or is it necessary?
Yeah, I was just going to paraphrase, but I'm certainly not going to read it. Let me just say that I intended to put in the packet actually a blank evaluation form. I didn't intend to put in my evaluation from last time. Customarily, the council takes a while to, a week or so to prepare a written evaluation that broadly looks at my position. That's not required. I serve at the will of the council. You don't need any reason or all the reasons to dismiss me. That's part of being your city manager, part of the contract. In particular, though, there were 2 points that were raised in the email, Mayor, when you asked that this be on the agenda, and I'd like to respond to those 2 points. One was that regarding the general services fee, and also I need to respond to a new allegation from you that, quote, instead of cooperation, you have proceeded with an investigation that cost the residents of the city about $5,000. In this memo, I have described the many, many times that the general services fee has been in front of you either in a city council meeting, in a work session, or as a member of the budget committee. If you failed to accomplish your objective of going beyond the $55,000 that I recommended in the budget, that's your fault. I have given you a process of numerous opportunities to make motions to amend the budget, to give me direction to eliminate the general services fee in a public meeting, and you have failed to do so. So right now, the budget as it's going forward, it was approved by the budget committee, has a $55,000 reduction in the general services fee, and this evening you voted on a mechanism that reduces the rate for residences and businesses. Now, as to the coercion investigation that I supposedly cost the city $5,000, I think you've forgotten who the victim was, Mr. Mayor. The investigation as to whether Mayor Knight coerced me regarding the general services fee or water tax, as you refer, began with the receipt of a written complaint from a citizen, Mr. Sham. Prior to that date, I never knew him, didn't actually meet him until some days later, and we will give you the documents that you asked for that start at the date that he submitted that complaint. I believe that was January 10th. The basis of Sham's complaint is from knowledge he gained from an article in the Oregonian dated January 6th that indicated Mayor Knight would consider retaining the city manager, quote, if he helped remove the general services fee. Now, on January 18th, this city council voted 4-0, without you participating as proper, to direct the city attorney to investigate. The city council ordered the investigation. I did not cause the investigation. On February 7th, the report came back. Mr. Elsner concluded that the mayor did attempt to coerce me into taking actions regarding the general services fee. However, placing the topic on the agenda of the city council was determined to not be an administrative act within the purview of the city charter. The city council voted 4-0 to accept the conclusions of the city attorney. And I've read the minutes, and I will furnish you a copy. Since you don't seem to remember what happened on that night, and I know you've requested the tape and listened to it. Now, I reviewed the billings from Barry Elsner and Hammond to confirm that $5,000 was spent. It appears that part of that figure is for the city attorney's time, first of all, considering and advising what to do with the complaint, advising as to whether or not you could participate in the debate and discussion on that point, and attending the meeting on January 18th where my termination was considered. All that is kind of included in that $5,000 figure. I think it's fair to say that some of that $5,000 is before the investigation was requested and some of it was after. Perhaps several $1,000s either way. Anyway, this general services fee is just one aspect. The coercion investigation is just one aspect of the many, many things that I've done for the city over the 5 years. I enjoy working with the city. If it ends, it ends. You have that privilege. And I have the privilege of serving at the pleasure of the city council. I accept that. The other thing I want to hand out tonight is I'm going to give you a pie chart of the general fund and how much the different departments in the general fund are proposed to expend next year. We have factored in what it would take to cut each department on an equal basis, 8.4%, which is what the remaining general services fee is worth of the general fund, not including some obligations that you can't get out of, debt, contingency, unappropriated unfunded items. And then we have in another column changed or indicated how if you cut the general fund departments on a proportional basis, that $431,000. So, in one case, if you cut the community development budget 8.6%, they would lose $29,000. If you cut them as their percentage of the general fund, it would reduce them almost $27,000. The third column is blank. That says targeted cuts. If the city council wishes to propose some targeted cuts in the general fund, then we can work together to fill in that third column. Because I don't think either of the other two columns are appropriate or realistic. But they do add up to $431,000 or about that number. And I hope this is helpful then as you prepare for your budget hearing